Two and one.
Hi guys, I hope everybody's having a great day. It was supposed to be stormy and wet here today, and fortunately for us, what is it with me and the volume on this thing? I thought I turned it all down. There we go. So, sorry about that. We were supposed to get all of that heavy rain and storms. Well, it decided to move south of us, and I still have volume. Why do I still have volume?
Is it your phone?
No, it's not, but the volume is down. Anyway, I'm going to hit pause because it's irritating me. I'll fix it later. So,
You didn't hit pause.
and
You sure it's not your phone?
I can't do anything with this. It won't pause. It won't shut off. Okay, I'll shut it off. There. There we go. Now it's gone. Now I can't see anything, but I turned the volume off on this thing and unbelievable. Thank you. You make it go away. Unreal. That iPad is driving me insane.
It's your phone.
It was my phone. I am technologically inept today. Honest to Pete. So, where was I? Oh, yes. We were supposed to get all this nasty weather. Well, unfortunately, that nasty weather that was supposed to hit us decided to curl southeast and instead slammed into Nova Scotia late yesterday afternoon and last night. And it has created an absolute disaster. The Halifax area, parts of Nova Scotia are under terrible flooding. There's evacuation orders in various areas around the province because of the heavy rain. There is a dam near my hometown, not too far from my hometown anyway, that was kind of iffy. And so they put out an evacuation order for that area. So the folks in Nova Scotia and whatnot, we're thinking about you. I know that's probably doesn't have a whole lot of value, but please know that we're thinking about you. I've reached out to various members of my family just to check in, make sure they're okay. And so far, so good. Everybody's safe and sound. The one person I haven't heard from today, Corinna Refuse, I don't know exactly where you're located, but I think you're down the valley area. Hopefully you guys are in the clear, that you're nice and safe. And Sheila Landry, who's down in Mcteer, which is much further down the valley, down at the point near Digby. I don't know what kind of weather you guys have had, but hopefully you guys are safe as well. So that was I just wanted to make sure everybody's okay. We're fine. We're getting like 30 degrees this afternoon and the sun is shining, and we were supposed to have thunderstorms and nasty weather all day. So, not bragging, just saying. We have had the weirdest weather here this summer, and unfortunately, our friends in the province of Nova Scotia and on the island, I can't forget that, folks on Prince Edward Island are getting slammed too. So, fingers crossed that everybody is safe and well. We do have a shout out for today, and I had a chance to catch up with my girl Sandy the other day, and it's been far too long. Her and I both a little bit busy recently and really hadn't had a chance to catch up. So we spent about an hour or so just gabbing and just catching up with each other. It was really nice to spend an afternoon talking with a friend that I haven't talked to in a while, because both our schedules have been nuts. So my shout out this week is to SandyMcteerDesigns.com, and I'm going to tell you why. Sandy has tons of goodies on her website, things that I do not stock, and simply because I don't have the space in here. But Sandy also stocks a lot of the stuff that I use. So she stocks some of the black gold brushes. She stocks my encaustic oval brushes, and she stocks my stencil brushes. So she has a ton of stuff that I use on the regular. Sandy sends customers my way, and I send customers Sandy's way because we look out for each other. I do the same with a lot of painters, with Chris Hoy, with Deb Antonick, my buds, with a variety of painters and businesses, because I think it behooves us to do that. I think we have to support each other in those ways. They carry something that I don't carry. I'm going to send you guys to them, and vice versa. They do the same thing for me. So if you are by chance in need of one of my favorite tools, this little heat it tool, this thing is freaking fantastic. Sandy's got a bunch of them in stock right now. She also has my Dynasty and Caustic Ovals, my Fugly brush. She has those in stock. And she has riggers and a few other things as well. And she's given you a coupon code. So you can use the coupon code Tracy M, all capitals, and she's going to give you a discount on that as well. So go and check out sandymcteerdesigns.com. You're going to love what you see. There's tons of great stuff on her website, not to mention some really fantastic designs, so don't forget to have a look there too. She also stocks the M Square stencil, so in the eastern part of the U.S. or the southern part of the U.S., go and check her out. She's got lots in stock. Giveaways. I have 3 great giveaways today. We've got a Stampendous stamps and Dynasty stencil brushes. 3 of them right there. Yeah. So we've got a nice little giveaway set for you guys this week. Dynasty Stencil Pro stencil brushes. If you don't know what that is, they're fantastic. I use them all the time. It's this one right here. This Dynasty Stencil Pro. I love these stencil brushes. They're a synthetic. You're going to love the way they work. And so 3 giveaways today, so 3 of you are going away with a gorgeous Dynasty Stencil Pro stencil brush, fun little surface, an awesome stamp, my favorite, Vintage Note. You've all got a Vintage Note stamp from Stampendous, and of course there's a few other goodies in there as well. There always is.
I see an M squared stencil.
There is an M square stencil in there. It's called Seize the Day. I know.
Is that a $C?
It is. And Renee is a little quiet today. He had a rough night.
Yeah.
Not self-inflicted.
No.
No. Most people would be like, yeah, I'm hungover, whatever. Renee is not hungover. Renee had a bout of TN last night, so he's kind of recovering
Lacking
today.
sleep.
Yeah, lack of sleep and a nasty headache. So he's not his usual perky self today.
Nope.
We are going to have a bit of fun now that I have solved all my technological issues with the iPad and my phone. Didn't realize that it opened up on my phone. But now we know. I'm hopeless. So we're going to be painting the violet teacups. I really like this piece. One, I really like the stand-up teacup. I think it's a really neat surface. I think it lends itself to home decor. You could put anything on it. Absolutely anything. And I'm working on a Christmas one because, I can. And I have a number of designs for this teacup because I like teacups. And I like flowers and I like stuff. And, well, they're really fun. So we're going to be painting the violets, the African violets on this teacup. I changed up the design just a little bit so that it would work well on this teacup. And we added in the fun little butterfly and some stenciling. And I think you're really going to enjoy this. It's not a difficult paint. This one is an easy one to do. It's a relaxing project to paint. I know I've painted it 3 times. I've had a great time with it. So I think you're going to enjoy this one a lot. I am going to cover a few other things today, though. I really kind of like the idea of adding a few more technique things into some of these lives. And I've got a few project ideas coming up that I think you're going to like. We're just going to add a little more to what we're doing. The designs that we do in these lives are fairly simple. I try not to make them too complex so that they can be completed in the period of time that we have allotted for these lives and still give you something new or something different, or obviously get you something that you can learn. So I want to elevate that just a little. So we're going to start adding some texture mediums to a couple of these projects and show you how to manipulate textures and then incorporate them into your designs. So that's the plan. And we're starting that next Saturday with Vino Toscano. So we're going to be doing sort of a dry plaster look. And then we're going to be painting some beautiful lush grapes and even a fun little landscape. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with that. So did you have anything to add?
Nope.
I see that you updated our Christmas for the puppers.
Yes.
Yes, you did. Look at that number, folks. Isn't that awesome? We have 133 days to go, and we're at 75% of a $5,000 goal. That is flippin' awesome. Awesome. So thank you guys for that. We're very excited about this. I'm excited about this. He's less excited about the whole glitter thing, but I'm excited about this.
I'm more excited going down to the...
I am too. I think it's going to be fun. We might find a puppers.
I found a puppers. If not, I got a line on a couple breeders.
Yeah, well, we got to go feed some puppers first. So if you guys are ready to get started, so am I. I'm hopeless today.
Whoa, that was weird.
What was weird?
Didn't do the...
It didn't do the switchy
Swoosh.
thing? Oh, wow. Where did the swoosh go?
I don't know.
My coffee cup is shedding. And so I get these pieces of paint.
Plastic.
Is it plastic?
Yeah.
Anyway, it sticks to me. So,
Powder coated.
that's what it is. I'm going to need a new Yeti soon.
You
Either
want
that
another
or-
seat foam or...
No.
I
I
don't
like
even
the
know
color. It just doesn't, I don't know. It hasn't held up all that well. But I need a new Yeti, and I love my Yeti. This is my Yeti. I love my Yeti. I make a cup of tea in the morning, fill it right to the top, slam that magnetic lid on it, and this puppy stays hot all day. I started this one at like 8 o'clock this morning. Still working on it. It's still hot. You gotta love a Yeti. Best cup ever. So
What color could I paint the background if I painted this on a plaque?
if you wanted to put like the teacup or just the floral
I
on
think
a
like
plaque,
a canvas or on
on a canvas,
wood panel.
but put a black background on it.
Black background.
Yeah. You can use black. You could use a dark green. Would be nice. Would be pretty. So, the African violets. These are very simplified, but they're a lot of fun to paint, and they're very pretty. And I like these ones because one, they get you to practice your floating to get those nice soft floats. That's one of the benefits of this. And then it also teaches you to use another value. So this one is working essentially with 3 values of the same color. So we're starting our base with a little bit. Okay, one needs brushes in order to paint.
Okay, so I have all the colors available
Of the Yeti?
of the Yeti.
Okay.
It's the Rambler with the handle.
I love this one. Although it's heavy.
Limited edition colors. Rescue Red.
Okay.
Canopy Green.
Okay.
That's very green.
Yeah.
And High Desert Clay.
Oh, so that one's like a terracotta color?
Yeah. It's like a orangey pink.
Ugh. I don't do pink. I'm not a fan of pink.
Yeah. Those are the limited edition colors.
Yeah.
The core colors are charcoal,
Okay.
black,
Yeah.
navy blue, seafoam,
Which is what I have.
which is what you have, and you have white and stainless steel.
I think I'd like Rescue Red. I just like the name of it. Rescue red.
It's very much rescue red.
Okay, like fire engine red.
Oh, check it out.
Right on. Oh, yeah, baby. That is like hooker boots red.
Yep.
Yep. Love it. I'm a fan. I like red. In your face red. So the color that I'm using to base these petals is Lilac Meadow. Kind of enamored with this purple. Very pretty. And it's very soft. And I'm only doing one coat. This color is actually really nicely opaque. Covers quite well. And because we have 3 or 4 other colors going in here, we really don't have to worry too much about whether or not it's perfectly opaque. Good coverage, but it doesn't have to be perfectly opaque.
My view is a bit blurred. Anyone else having that? It could be your settings.
Yeah. Because we're crystal clear on this end. Yeah. And I'm looking at the Facebook feed, so.
Switching to 1080p worked.
Oh.
Yeah, that worked.
That'll do it.
Yeah. We do broadcast in HD.
Yeah. So the higher the resolution you have, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't go to 4K because, well, you guys would be constantly reloading and reloading and reloading.
Yeah.
And this little laptop can't handle 4K.
Yeah. Our cameras are set for it, but
we have a 4K camera on the top, and we have a 4K camera for seeing my mom's beautiful face.
He said sarcastically.
I'm hoping for cookies.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a bit of baking to do this afternoon once I... Yeah. Apparently.
I'm kidding.
You never kid when it comes to cookies.
I do. It's pie I don't kid about.
That's true. Sorry, my mistake.
I can live without cookies. Pie, on the other hand... If there's a possibility of pie, that means there is no possibility. There is pie.
Yeah. Okay. There is pie.
It could be salmon pie. It could be shepherd's pie. I like shepherd's pie.
Yep. You are your father's son. Short range apple.
Yes.
So I'm just
apple pie?
Apple pie. I'm just going to quickly base coat these leaves. I'm using, again, another new color that Deckwork put out in 22, which is this one. It's a lush green. They're very similar. If you put antique green next to this, they're very similar. This is sort of halfway between antique green and avocado. It has that high yellow tone of the antique green, but it has the opacity of the avocado. So this one has better coverage than antique green. And antique green is one of my favorites. I love that color.
What brush are you using?
This one, I'm using a number 2 round just to fill in these spaces. And again, one coat is all I generally put in. Because we're going to put so many other colors on top of this, one coat is usually plenty. Just remember to follow the shape of the leaves so that you're not having to work against a whole bunch of mishmashed lines.
Oh no, canopy green looks pretty good.
Let me see.
It's like green.
Oh, I like that too. Guaranteed I wouldn't lose it in this room. I lose this one all the time. It's Bahama blue, kind of molds right in, you know. Yeah, I gotta get a new one. This one is. I do love my Yeti. But this one is what? How old now? 4?
Almost 4 years old, yeah.
I mean, you just cannot beat a Yeti cup. If I could have it sandblasted, I'd be a happy camper.
You don't even need to have it sandblasted. You don't.
No.
You just steam them.
Oh,
You need hot steam, but
yeah.
and it has to be direct.
I could probably chemically strip it, but I don't want to do that.
And then it'd just be a steel.
Yeah, then just
Mug.
be a stainless steel mug, but I do like my Yeti. I have 2 of them. I have the small one and I have this one. Oh, no, I have 3 because I have the tall, skinny one with no handle. So I've got my leaves in, and I still have to do those little curlicue leaves. And I usually use desert cactus for those. I'm going to use laurel today. I was going through my paint the other day. I am down to my last bottle of desert cactus, and I shook it and there's hardly anything left in it. So I need to order some paint. Okay, I made a mess of that. Yeah, sometimes I think the 4K camera that, catches me is totally unnecessary.
Well, I don't have it set to 4K.
Oh, I know. You still have it set too high because I can see far too much.
I have it set to 1080.
Some days I look at that picture and I go, oh, dear God. But oh well, it's all good. It ain't a fashion show. We're here to paint. So, I'm just going to pop this base coat in. Now, ordinarily, I would have stenciled this background first, but I intentionally did not. And I'll explain myself in just a second. I typically, and by default, will use the 1/8 polka dot. Simply because I love polka dots. And I like that 1/8. I think it's very dainty and whatnot. But because I use it so much, sometimes I think, you know what? There's 100 different designs that we could use for that background in there, for this cup. And because I automatically default to those little polka dots, I think it kind of lends the impression that that's the only thing you can use, which is not true. We can use whatever we want. So I'm going to dry this real quick.
No rain for Linda Sifranco.
No.
It's been hot, apparently.
Yeah, it's been very warm and muggy here. But it's subjective because warm and muggy here is not the same as warm and muggy in New Orleans or Louisiana.
No.
Not even close.
Aw.
What?
Miss Debbie Daniker.
What'd she do?
She says, come on, Tracy, you're beautiful inside and out. True story.
Aw. Leave it to Deb to stroke my ego. Thank you, doll. Every once in a while, it just needs to stroke, It's all good. So I've got a very white teacup, and I've got some base coats down. Of course, you can see right through it, but that's okay. By the time we're done, you won't be able to see it. So we need to put something in that background. Typically, I would default to using these tiny little polka dots because I like polka dots. But there's 100 different things you could use back there. So I have my polka dot stencil, but I wanted to talk about doing something different in the background. So go and grab your favorite stamps. Doesn't matter what it is. You know, some of these little stamp sets have these pretty little flowers. You could stamp those in the background. You could, you know, would look great with those cancellation stamps. Just saying. Maybe tiny little butterflies in the background. Just the odd one here and there. Or maybe a little bit of script from one of those vintage note stamps. The reason I'm saying this is that very often when you open up a pattern, you have to have exactly what's in it. And I don't think that that's true. I think a lot of the time we're kind of guided towards using very specific things. And if you decide that I'm not keen on polka dots, I'd really like to see little diamonds back there, then go ahead and do it. Knock yourself out. And the reason I tell you to do that is because then it makes it uniquely yours. It isn't, you know, it's a Tracy Morrow design, but you put your own twist on it. And so now it becomes more to your liking and it falls into what you enjoy. I put polka dots in it because I love polka dots, but that you may not. So don't feel that when I'm teaching one of these things that you have to have exactly what I'm working with. I encourage you to grab your stamps, grab your little diamond stencil or your buffalo check or your big polka dots or whatever you want to put back there. Go for it. You won't know how it looks until you try it. So I just wanted to take 5 seconds to encourage you to use whatever you have on hand. Use your own imagination and use the things that you love to do those things in the background. All of this fun stuff, this is just basic technique, but all of that, those doodads and whatnot that go in the background, that's on you. Go for it. Put whatever you want back there. That's entirely up to you. And you can have so much fun doing it too. I do. I do what I want. I can do all kinds of fun things.
So we have a request.
Do we?
Yes.
What is it?
And it could be a very simple request.
Okay.
And I think it's a great idea.
What's that?
Something to do with the fluid acrylics.
Oh, that's next weekend.
Oh, there you go. She's a step ahead of you, Jessica.
I am we are going to be working with the fluid acrylics next weekend. What the heck did I do with it? Honest to God. The good Lord did not give me a whole lot of marbles this week. I guess he just wanted to see what kind of mischief. There it is. Hello. Good gravy, Marie.
All done with fluid acrylics?
This is all done with fluid acrylic. So this is what we're doing next Saturday.
Oh, there you go, Jessica.
I have a really busy week next week. Actually, we have a very busy week next week. We have the members live class on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I have a live class on Wednesday. I have a Zoom class on Friday. Oh. We have the Saturday live, and then I'm doing another Zoom class on Sunday.
Oh, fun.
So camera's going to go up, go down, go up, go down. Changing out cameras. So
no, I think Wednesday I'll leave it up.
No, because I got to do other work around here. So, yeah. But yes. So next Saturday, this is what we're doing. We're working with fluid acrylics. So you're going to have a little bit of fun. We're also working with that vintage note stamp and a bottle of asphaltum and a stamp pad. And we're going to have a great day. And this one is using texture mediums for the background. Now, in this one, I just used the Deckwart Media texture paste. Simple as that. If you don't have it, any texture medium will work just fine. You don't need to have 101 gallons of the perfect texture medium. Even drywall compound will work. What?
I was going to say, you don't need every type of texture medium out there. And then
I know.
You have every type of texture medium out there.
Yes. Yes, I do.
But you don't need it.
Oh, I did get Happy Mail today, too.
Oh yeah, there was.
I got Happy Mail a lot this week.
Oh yeah.
I'll show it later. Because
Oh.
I got pens. Well, they knew about pens. I already told them about pens. But it was kind of funny. That whole thing was kind of funny. But I got some pastel pencils this week. And I got paper this week.
Busy.
I got stuff. Toys. Love it. So I'm going to put some black polka dots on my white paint. So I'm going to position it. It's the fun part about doing this. I can line up my stencil with the bottom of the teacup. Now I know it's nice and straight. I gotta grab a stencil brush. So I'm working with a Dynasty Stencil Pro, and I'm using a very small one for this because I need to be able to control it a little bit better. But this is the one I'm working with. It's a 3/8 Dynasty Stencil Pro stencil brush. And a little bit of black paint. Oh my goodness. I'm having all sorts of I'm having human issues today. I just dumped black paint in my hand and in my lap. Good Lord. Some days. Okay, let's try this again. I'm batting 1,000 today. There we go. I'm still giggling over the phone thing. Oh, what's for dinner, Debbie? I'm making fried rice tonight. I have a bunch of steamed rice left over. Actually, it's not, well, it's steamed, but I made saffron rice earlier in the week, and I made way too much. So I have a bunch of saffron rice left, and I have a bunch of leftover chicken I'm going to chop up, and I have some leftover shrimp I'm going to chop up, and we're going to have a feed of fried rice. I've got lots of veggies and whatnot I can throw in there too. So, and I made sticky wings this week too, so I have a few chicken wings to use. That's never a bad thing. Leftover chicken wings are always so good. So I'm just skipping around the color details. Now the fun part about, this, see, broke my own rule. I didn't tape the stencil in place. So I'm just stenciling some polka dots on those white areas. And I'm just trying to avoid some of the areas where there's color. But the nice part is that if I do happen to get paint black polka dots where not supposed to have black polka dots, I can quite easily just touch that up. So we have polka dots on our teacup. I was sitting here the other day and I was thinking that this would be so cute with a stamped background. With the little flowers or something. Just keep it really simple. I thought, oh, it would be so pretty. So I've got a black polka dot touching a couple of my leaves. So I'm just going to put a quick coat. Of that laurel or desert cactus, whichever one you've chosen to use. I just went with laurel today because I've got maybe 2 drops of desert cactus left and I'm in the middle of painting something else. So, and laurel, although it's a little bit lighter, it works just fine. There we go. So fun. How can you not love polka dots? I love polka dots. So I'm going to dry this real quick. And then we're going to shade this teacup. I want to do that before we get into doing all of the other colors on this floral. So I'm using a little bit of asphaltum, and I'm going to use a mop brush and one of my favorite angles. I'm going to use this one. This is a nice 1/2 inch Dynasty Water Lily angled shader. Give that a good soak. And that is not my Dynasty mop. Nor is that, but that is. Okay. So this is a Dynasty 7/8. It's in the 400 series, which is the decorator series. It's a big oval mop. I love these. So this is the one we're going to use. Now, the only time I use this, quite honestly, is to soften floats. And in this case, because we're working on a white, and I don't want to lose the white, but I need to shade the white, I want to make sure that the floats are nice and soft and diffused. So I'm going to keep my mop handy. And I'm going to pick up a small amount of asphaltum. And I'm going to blend it out well. I don't want this color full strength. I need it to be controlled. So I'm going to put a float underneath those leaves. In behind that green leaf. And then I'm just going to use my mop brush to diffuse that float. Just to soften it. So that float's going to go in and around all of these leaves, like so. And under the flowers. And then I'm going to use my mop to diffuse and soften that float. So I get a much softer transition. You don't get any hard lines where that shading has stopped. And then I'm going to come down here and shade under my leaf. And I'm going to diffuse that as well. So whenever I'm shading, I'm going to do this one layer at a time. Don't forget to get into these little areas here, in behind and underneath those flowers. Like that little open space in the center. And I'm going to dry this, and then I'm going to repeat this. There. So again, asphaltum, blend it out well so that it's not full strength. And then apply another float right over top of the first one. Get it in nice and tight. Don't worry if you get it on top of that flower, it's fine. So a little bit darker, and again, diffuse the float. There we go. So it gives you that nice shadow, but it doesn't kill all of that white. So it gives you a little bit of a lift. So now you've got nice soft floats. And I'm going to bring a little bit right here up underneath that, where that rim will be. Remember, we have a border to put on here. And I'm going to do the same thing here underneath that lip. And then all the way across here.
Snap, crackle, pop.
So little float right at the bottom of this stripe here. And then don't forget to diffuse that float a little. So we're just about there.
Apparently, we need a ginger bob teacup.
We need a ginger bob teacup. I couldn't agree more. Hang on a second. I almost forgot something. So we send out those little goodies every week.
Yeah.
And for the last couple of weeks, we've been sending out little seahorses and little, what's the other one?
Skulls.
No, not skulls. It was seahorses and something else. I forget. Anyway, so this time around, this is what's going out with your shipments, is a little butterfly pin kit. Isn't this cute? So I thought it'd be fun just to paint up a little pin for myself that mimics the butterfly that's on this teacup. So we have these great little pin kits that are going out with all the orders we ship right now. So they're fun and summery. So butterfly as it is this time around. And we have some nifty ones coming up. And we've got new stencils coming in the next week or so. And we got all kinds of fun stuff coming. So now that I've got all that shading on the teacup done, we need to come down here and separate the bottom of the teacup from the edge of the saucer. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick. There's nothing worse than trying to float a straight line and then botching it. Drives us crazy because we're painters. So I'm going to put a piece of painter's tape right along there, like so. Just a little trick. If you know that you're not going to be able to get a nice straight line, or if it's something that frustrates you, or if you have hands that don't decide they're not cooperating with you today, just take a piece of tape and the base color, in this case it's a little bit of warm white, and I'm going to put a little bit of that base color right along the edge of that tape, like so. And then I'm going to dry it real quick. And then I do it again. Real quick, it doesn't take much. Just want to make sure that you get the whole edge of the tape. That's all.
That's a weird comment. Well, then just take all my money.
Okay.
Okay.
We can do that. So we've got that base coat down on it. You're going to take your angled shader and you're going to float right over top of the tape. Just like that. And then when you're removing tape, tip, fold it right back on itself. Don't try to pull straight up. So there, look, et voila. Nice shaded line.
Renee, any tips on puppy bites? Puppy bites? My pug is an ankle biter.
Oh. Poor Papa John.
Basic bite inhibition.
Uh-huh.
It's you basically make it sound like you hurt every time they bite you. And they will realize that what they're doing hurts you, and they obviously don't mean to hurt you. They're basically telling them, don't bite me.
Uh,
The other thing you can do is, if it's because of high drive or wanting to play, get a flirt pole. Creates a prey drive and lets them bite that rather than your ankles.
We're Bubba dogs. One of our neighbors here has is it a Ridgeback?
There is a Ridgeback, yes.
Yeah. He was out walking the other day, and Lord, he's a beautiful dog.
That creamy chocolate color.
Well, he's sort of the reddish golden brown. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful dog. He walks, he's built like a really big greyhound.
Yeah.
You know, they're all barrel chested and long legs.
Nothing but legs and ribs.
Yeah, and he's beautiful. He's just, head is always up, and he's just gorgeous. So we're going to highlight opposite that little shadow that we just put in at the bottom of the teacup by putting float of warm white, nice bright float, right up against it. And then that way you have a really sharp contrast. Do you see? Even though that's the same color as that teacup, I put it, or the edge of the saucer, I butted it right up against that float as tight as I could get it, and nice and opaque, and look at how sharp, and then you get that nice definition right off the bat. So I'm just going to pull that white highlight all the way across and let it run out. Just like that. The minute you create a contrast from here to here, even though they're the same color technically, that little bit, putting that shadow right up against that white, as crisp and as clean as you can make it, it gives you really nice definition. And I floated asphaltum on either end of that saucer. Just gives you the impression that it's round and not flat. And there we go.
Thanks, I'll try anything. My ankles are bruised all the way around. As long as he's not, like, biting, and if he's just basically slamming his face into your ankles. He's just looking to play.
Yeah.
So, get a flirt pole. Attach a good treat to the flirt pole and tease him.
Well,
Get him to chase something else other than your ankles.
we are at week 2 with McGinty.
Oh, yes. Miss Airy.
Airy. Oh my gosh. She is something else.
She's all thumbs.
She's all thumbs, yes. She was a little skittish at first, getting used to all the different noises and whatnot. And of course, the house has been closed up for the last week and a half because of the high humidity and the high temps. And so we've had nothing but the AC running. And the other day we opened up the house because it was nice and cool. And she spent the whole day under the, under the couch because there was too many noises. It was just, poor little thing was in like sensory overload. But she seems to have recovered and is terrorizing the house quite nicely. She's giving Gizmo a run for his money.
Yeah. He seems to be more tired than usual.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. But she doesn't let him sleep. That's part of the problem. He was asleep on his chair the other day, and she just launched off of the footstool and woke him up. Bit his tail. He didn't appreciate it. So she's keeping him and all of us on our toes. She's very cute, but I can't remember the last time we had a cat in the house that has as much energy as she does. That may change once she's spayed, but I doubt it.
No, she's got to get tested for
Oh, she has to get all of her needles. That's
all her
next week.
shots and her tests.
Yep, she's got her appointment for next week. For next Friday. She'll go in and get her needles and her checkup and...
I'm not seeing YouTube here. What's going on? I got Facebook. Yo, jeez. Ankle bites equals walk faster. Kind of.
Yeah, unless you have a herd of piranha.
Yeah, walking faster doesn't help. That
No.
actually entices them more to do it
Yep.
because now it's a challenge.
Yep. Now it's a game.
The best way to think of dogs is everything you want them to do, think of the opposite.
What could they possibly do?
Dogs are built to have an opposition reflex. So if you're pulling on the leash, they're going to
Go the other way.
go the other way.
Yeah.
They want to get away from you.
Yeah. I don't like this.
My black kitten came running into the kitchen, lunged, and grabbed my pants. He proceeded to completely try and eat my leg. What a little booger he is.
Yeah, Jessica adopted 2 kittens.
Oh.
She went to get one. She came home with 2.
Oh, there's Miss Sheila Landry.
Hello, Miss Sheila. Hope you're safe and sound, sweetie. We are thinking of you guys. With so many friends. Terry Greencorn. Was thinking of that just a second ago. Goodness, Terry is right in Halifax, Dartmouth area. So hopefully, Terry, you're okay. Okay, I lost the chat. Swipe left. There you are. Poor Gizmo. Yeah, okay.
Can you ask Tracy if she's going to get 2 stencils in?
Yes, they are ordered and they will be in soon. We have 2 new M square stencils. Miss Sandy has designed them. I'm so excited about them. So yes, they are on their way. So that we will have a full range. Sandy and I try to keep it so that we both have everything. And right now I am a little overstocked on M square, but that's okay. It's all good. I'd rather have too much than too little. So far, so good. So we need to start building up some of these elements in this design. We've got all of our shading in that background. I'm going to pull a little more of that green in, just because that black is a little heavy. So for next Saturday, if you are interested in painting along with our textured piece with these grapes, Sandy has the media fluid acrylic colors in stock. We had that conversation yesterday. So if you're looking for them, go and check them out on Sandy's website. It doesn't use a ton of colors, which I've tried to keep the palette small for a couple of reasons. One, the colors are often difficult to find. So I kept it as simple as possible. So we're working with a grand total of, I think it's 4 colors in the fluid acrylics and then 4 colors in Americana.
2 kittens are always better. They teach each other how to cat.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true.
Just like having 2 dogs.
Mm-hmm.
With, what was your friend's name there? With Talon?
Oh, Donna.
She's learning very quickly that Talon's doing most of the teaching.
Yeah. Dallin is just an exceptional dog.
Oh.
Exceptional. He's brilliant.
It's not common to see Doberman being used as a service dog.
Yeah.
It's not common. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Yeah. But he is exceptional. One, he's just strikingly handsome dog. But so smart.
They're very intimidating looking, though.
Yeah. Talon he's beautiful. And Donna is a dog trainer, so she's very good at it.
Yeah.
But it's been a while since she's had a puppy in the house, so. Yep. So she's got her hands full, let's say. So I'm going to dry this. And we're going to have a little bit of fun with this part. The thing about African violets is that they have a very velvety appearance. Everything about them has that velvety texture. The leaves, the petals and the flowers, everything about these flowers has that velvety look. And it's not something that's really easy to achieve. So instead of trying to replicate the texture, I wanted to replicate the tone, if you know what I mean. So we're working with softer values of color. So there's no really harsh shading. There's no really harsh highlights. So I'm going to be using a little bit of plantation pine. I love this color.
Is it common for Yorkies to want to lick your sores? Yes.
Yeah, dogs in general.
It's very common.
Yeah.
Well, all dogs, really.
Yeah.
They will lick wounds, sores, cuts, scrapes.
Yeah.
It's their way of taking care of you.
Yeah. They're human.
Yeah.
They're fixing you.
They're trying to.
Yeah.
Trying to keep it clean.
So we've got that green in there. So we're going to establish some shadows, which is pretty simple. I'm using plantation pine. It's one of my favorite shading colors for most greens for a couple of reasons, because it's very transparent. And boy, did I hoop that. Oh, no, I didn't. Yes, I did. So good opportunity to show you how to get rid of something when you've done it. So I didn't put that float in the right place. So while it's still wet, clean out your brush, pick up a little bit of water, and then work against the surface, literally pushing backwards. It lifts the paint. And you can try again.
Are you selling the butterfly pins?
No, that's not the intent. The pins actually are part of the giveaway. So if they're in their packaging and whatnot, I mean, we certainly can. I've only got about 500 of them, so. Yeah. If that's something you guys would like to see on the site, we can certainly do that.
Talon is a really great dog. I roomed with Donna at a convention, and he was perfect.
Yeah, Talon is a seriously impressive dog. And he's so sweet.
Is he a leaner?
Pardon me?
Is he a leaner?
No, he is not a leaner. He is...
Doberman.
Talon looks like he could make an ornament at a door. Do you know what I mean? He has that perfect posture of a Doberman. He is statuesque. That's a great word for Talon.
He's well taken care of.
And he's an absolutely striking dog. And as I said, Donna is exceptional at what she does. So Talon is beautifully trained. So I'm putting my floats, just little ones. You see, they're short, so that they're going to create a bit of a hump. Notice that they're not straight, that they're kind of S-shaped a little bit. Like that. So I'm going to bring this a little closer to the... So the shadow is going towards the flower. Darkest value towards the flower. So like that. And it's kind of an S shape, if you see what I mean. I'm trying to turn it so that there. So you're able to see where that shadow is. And that's important. Getting that just so, and you'll see why in just a second. Because that's going to create that sort of raised appearance, the dimples, the ripples in these leaves.
I guess they want to see you sell the butterfly pins.
Okay, fine. You know what? They're just such a simple paint. They're just fun to do, and I love putting those little pin kits in your orders. And we can get hundreds of them, so I'm not too worried. We did the little seahorses there and the starfish for the last little bit, and those ones are super cute.
Poor Gizmo.
Yeah, poor Gizmo. He now has a queen size bed. He's graduated from a Nike box to a tomato flat. My cat's got a thing for cardboard boxes. I know most cats do, but he's kind of weird about it.
He's special.
Yeah. And Ari launched herself into it the other day while he was in it. And
she just chews the sides of it.
She chews the sides, but she walks all over him to do it. No wonder he's tired. Doesn't get any rest anymore. But he's Gizmo. He's special.
They feel safe in boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
it. Gizmo's the safest cat in the planet. That cat's too much for TV, I'm telling you. So all of those little floats that we put in there just create sort of that bumpy effect of these leaves. So in order to get that soft effect, we need to work with a color that is fairly muted and with a fairly high white content so that it's not fully opaque, but a little opaque, and it leaves us with a bit of a chalky appearance. Now, one of my favorite greens is this one. It's matcha green. And it has that high yellow content, which we need to get that highlight. But at the same time, it has a very high content of white. So it tends to get a little chalky when when you thin it right out. So we still get that green, but we get kind of a chalky effect. So you can see where that white chalky effect comes in. So I'm putting a highlight like so, down that center vein, and you can see where that chalky bit comes in. It doesn't look bright, but it softens the leaf a little. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to put a little highlight there. And so we get this soft, muted look from it. And it creates that sort of bumpy appearance in the leaves. And I love that chalky look. So it isn't a hard, bright highlight, but it does give us sort of a fuzzy look. And I'm going to do the same thing to all of these leaves. So a little bit of that matcha green. And highlight opposite that first shadow. Remember that dark green that we put in, that plantation pine? Go opposite of it. And then those leaves look nicely muted and very soft. And I'm going to do the same thing to all of these. Soft and muted. So once we've done that, you want to come back in with a little bit of that plantation pine and just deepen some of those shadows. Center vein. And what it does is it sharpens those details, but it also mutes some of that highlight just a little bit. So we end up with these nice soft leaves. Ta-da! Nice soft leaves. Now, one of the colors that I love working with, especially with that desert cactus, with this laurel, with any of the teal greens to gray greens, I really love this color. This is Mermaid's Tail. And we're going to float a little bit of that at the base of the leaf where it joins the stem. And it's just a little float, kind of U-shaped. And it's going to look a little bright for a bit.
Karen Knox is wondering if you're using water or float medium.
I'm using, right now I'm just using water because my flow medium, my fast drying glaze bottle is empty. And I forgot to refill it before we went live. So,
Gasp.
I know. So I'm working with water. But I usually don't. And I think I'm almost out of Joe Sonia.
Now you're going to start using...
Well, I just, you know what, take 2 seconds and fill up your bottle. Yep, that's the last of my Joe Sonia. I won't. It's empty. In case you're wondering, this is what I use. This is Joe Sonia's Fast Dry Glaze Medium. I believe Sandy has it, stocks it on her website. The only reason I don't is that it's difficult for me to get it.
Yeah.
And then it's also difficult for us to ship it. So, yeah. So Sandy stocks the Fast Dry Glaze Medium. And if you're on the West Coast, Erica Joanne stocks it on her website. So you can check out hers. And you can also get it from joesonia.com. Best stuff ever. I love it. There, my bottle's full. My heart is full now. See? So, little float of that mermaid's tail just at the base of each leaf where it joins the stem. These little leaves, they're just for filler. I like them. I like having that little bit of joy. Now, the brush that I'm using for this one, this is a Dynasty Water Lily. It's a 3/8 angled shader. I use those ones. I also use these ones. This is a Dynasty Faux Squirrel 3/8. These are the sizes that I use the most often. Ta-da! Look at that. So we need to add a highlight to the tips of these leaves. Because these have that blue teal look, I kind of like having a little bit of white on there, just because it gives it sort of a frosty look, which cools things off a little bit, which I really like. So little float warm white just at the tip of that leaf. Like so. It just helps give those leaves a little slightly frosty appearance. I love warm white. Just a great color for so many things. I prefer it over a titanium white for a couple of reasons. I find titanium is very cold. Has its place. But I like warmer tones, and so even on cool colors, warm white works really well. There we go. Easy peasy. So in case you're wondering what I'm wiping my brush on, this is a baby white. I accidentally ordered a whole bunch of baby wipes. Well, not baby wipes. They're personal wipes. I suppose you could use them for babies or what have you. Pre-moistened wipes. These are the flushable variety, but not that it makes a big difference. But I've been finding myself using them for a variety of things. And lately, I've been using them for keeping the paint off of my hands. Because I am just hopeless these days. I get paint everywhere. And in places I shouldn't get paint. I dropped a bottle of black in my lap the other day. I was wearing a bright orange tunic. And now I have black paint all over the front of it because although I dropped the bottle, I didn't realize that the paint had smeared up the front of my tunic. So by the time I realized, it was too late. It had dried solid. I tried a few things to get it out and just didn't work. So now I have a new painting shirt. It's a bright orange painting shirt. It works. There we go. So I've got a couple of areas that I wanted to touch up a little bit, particularly these areas in behind the flowers. I'm just taking a little bit of asphaltum. I'm going to thin a little bit of it out. I just want to pop a little extra in here. Because it needs it. And there's a couple of little spots here that I think needs a little more asphaltum. There we go. So our next step is to work these violets. And I'm a fan. I don't know about you guys, but African violets are just I don't know, there's something nostalgic about them. At least for me. My mother had them all over the house. In so many different colors and types. They were purples and pinks and whites, and some had ruffled edges and some were plain, and she had so many flowers and so many plants. My mother had a very green thumb. I do not. The only thing I grow with any success is mold. Indoor plants do not survive my loving attentions, believe me. Painted design over the black paint on my orange tunic. Yeah, I thought about that. I may do that yet. So we're going to paint these violets. I'm going to use a little bit of lavender and dioxazine purple. So I like the idea of I love purples. Lately, I've been using a lot of purples. So I have a very busy week next week. We have the memberships live class. We're doing a pen and ink and watercolor class. So members, don't forget that, 7 p.m. on Wednesday evening, Eastern Standard Time. They have their live class with me. And then on Friday, I have a Zoom class. We're doing the autumn flower market piece. We still have seats available if you'd like to take that class. And so we have that. It's pretty straightforward one because it goes on a 12 by 12, so you don't need to have a ton of supplies for that one. So we have that one, and then we have the live on Saturday. We're doing the grapes, and then I have a Zoom class on Sunday. So I have a busy week next week. So we're going to start on these flowers. I'm going to take a little bit of lavender, and I'm going to establish the shading in the center of the flower. Right here. So it's a U-shaped float on each of these petals close to the center of the flower. And again, diffuse. Nice shadow. Keep it simple. Don't overthink it. It's just a float. Little float of lavender, keeping the darkest value towards the center of the flower. Now I'm going to shade literally this whole petal back here with a little bit of that lavender. And float.
Got in the way.
You what?
I got in the way of the kitten and her play.
Oh. She's so funny.
I got boo-boo on my foot now.
Yeah, she got me good the other day. She used my foot for a launching pad, which is not good because little demon has claws. I'm pretty sure Gizmo refers to her as demon. Because she's busy. She is a very busy kitten.
I was looking at my teacups and teapots. It doesn't look like we've done a pansy teapot yet.
No, we have not done a pansy teapot. I do have a sketch for it. My problem is I have too many ideas and not enough time. I need to take a week off and just paint all of the designs that I already have sitting there.
I all just got my internet service back. Really hot in San Miguel, California.
Oof.
We were 110 yesterday.
Yuck.
Gross.
You can't even say it's a dry heat in California. Because it depends on where you are in California. And I'm not sure where San Miguel is. But it sounds hot.
That sounds Southern California.
Yeah.
Do the cats get along? Kinda.
Kinda. Gizmo's 10 years old. He doesn't have the energy it takes to keep up with a
15-week-old
kitten. But you got to give him credit because given the size of him, he could eat her easily. Gizmo is pushing 22, 23 pounds, if not more. He's a big kitty. And she barely weighs 2 pounds. Barely. And she's tiny. But I get it. She's not the least bit intimidated by him.
No.
Which I find hysterical.
Again, wasn't taken away from the litter too early.
Yeah. She's not intimidated by him. Although she pays attention when he puts his foot down, literally. But he was quite comfortably sleeping in his chair the other day, and she launched onto him from the footstool because his tail moved. And he wasn't happy about that. But so I've got that first shading in, and all it really does is just establish the centers, and it separates some of these petals. And that lavender is only about a value or two darker than the color of the lilac meadow that we used for the base. And the reason I went to that is that I wanted a nice dark center. But if I went directly to the Diox purple, it would have been a little too heavy-handed. And the Diox is just such a gorgeous dark purple. And it gives us that nice deep shadow, that nice deep shading, and that nice transition of color very easily. But it's also very transparent, which is really special. So it works really nicely when you're layering colors one on top of the other. Diox is lovely for that. And I guess it's more of a jewel toned purple than most. And I love that it makes this so nice and deep. So these colors really are nice and rich. So there we go. See, what a great purple that is. So that little float just in towards the center of each petal, where it comes to the center of the flower. So it should have that nice wide part of that float should be right in the center. Separates petals really nicely. So now we've got nice deep shading in the middles of our, in the middles. So I'm going to take a little bit of our base color, which is that lilac meadow, kind of a light orchid color. And I'm going to pick up a tiny amount of warm white. I just want to lighten the value of this purple a little bit. Now the reason I do the brush mix is quite simple. I could go digging through my paint rack and give you yet another color to add to this, but when we're just changing the value of one color, and this is the only place we're using it, I really didn't want to have to give you yet another color to contend with. So you're going to take that brush mix and just add a nice little float at the edge of the petal. So this gives you a nice little highlight. And because it's got a little bit of white in it, it goes back and it diffuses the other colors just a little. Gives us a nice bright edge to our petal. And it softens everything. Gives you a nice soft look. Look at that. And that lighter value actually lets you clean up edges a little. See how you get sharper edges on your petals? So a little bit of that lilac meadow, just a touch of warm white to it, just to change the value slightly.
Jeez.
What is it?
One of the breeders?
Mm-hmm.
The mom.
Mm-hmm.
Mom's scary looking.
Oh, Mom's beautiful. For those of you that can't see it, Mom is a Belgian Malinois.
Very pregnant.
Doesn't appear to have slowed her down any.
Nope. Good looking dog.
Yep. Beautiful dog. So, little float out at the edge. This just gives us a nice little highlight at the edge of the flower. That little bit of white in there just softens and diffuses a whole bunch of things, just makes life so much simpler. And I'm going to dry this. And then we're going to grab some saffron yellow and some warm white. Saffron yellow, my favorite yellow. This is an in-your-face yellow. I love it. So we're not going to use a ton of this because it's only for the center of the flower. But we do need that Dynasty Micron. I'm using a 10-aught extra long detail liner. And some of our Festra glaze. And we're going to thin out a little bit of warm white. I want this to be very inky. And we're going to add some folds to our petals. So I'm going to press down in here so that I get almost like a little comma stroke.
It's either a dog or food. If I'm showing something to my mother,
Again,
it's either dog or food.
yeah, it's one of the two. It's very rarely a car or not doesn't care for that stuff. Dogs are food, on the other hand. So I like this method, just a little stroke of warm white and then a very fine squiggly line out at the edge of that petal. Very fine. Fine as you can get it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't even have to be on the petal. It can go out over the edge if you like. And I'm going to repeat that with each of these flowers. So that little press down, and it kind of creates a fold in the petal, gives it a little more depth. And this technique works for flowers like pansies as well. Wherever you need a simple little flip over or a turnover in a petal, this is a really easy way to do that. And it gives you all kinds of depth in a flower very simply. And I kind of like that heavily thinned warm white to have that little fine irregular line at the edge of the petals. It just gives the flower a little more softness, makes it appear a little more delicate. Adds a nice little highlight to the edges of the petals as well. So we have that little detail in. And now we're going to add a little texture to the center of this flower. And I'm going to do that with that same liner brush and some heavily thinned Diox purple. So we are working right over the Diox that was in the center. So you're just going to pull out a few very fine lines from the center of your flower on each petal. So those details are very fine. You don't want them to come screaming out either. They're just a subtle little detail. It just creates delicate texture in the center of those petals. Nice light. Keep it thin. Whoop. Easy peasy this. And it's great practice if you're not used to working with a very fine liner like this. I can give you a couple of tips. Always start in the darkest value. So if you're doing a flower, you notice there's a dark spot in the center. If you start your stroke there and then just flick the brush back towards you. So that way, only by the time you get out here, only that very finest point of the hair is touching the surface. And that way, you're not going to end up with a hard line, which I did the first couple of times I did this. Because I didn't start on the darkest value. Tucks them back in there. They're there, but nobody can really see them. So, one more flower to go. And then we'll do those pretty yellow details back there. With my saffron yellow. I love my saffron. That's a question coming.
Can we see a close-up? I'm zoomed in as far as I can go.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up to the camera so you can get a better look. I realize this is very fine, so you can't see it all that well, but I'm going to pick it up, and hopefully you'll be able to see it.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so it's not a heavy texture in there. It's a fine texture. There you go. So, fine. And when I say start in the darkest value, so if you start your stroke in here and then pull out, and when you start to lift up, only the very finest point of the brush is going to be touching the surface when you hit the lighter colors. So it's not going to look like a heavy line. So the heaviest part of that stroke would be down in here, which is all going to be tucked under the flowers, under the center of the flower anyway. So it makes things a little bit easier. So we're going to use, I've got a 0 rigger for this. You can use a liner brush or a small round. And I'm going to pick up some saffron yellow, which is that bright in your face sunshiny yellow, and we're going to add just a series of dots in here. Maybe, I don't like to do too many, but it's 6 or 7, just directly in the center of that flower.
Was that the micron you were using, was that a 10-aught?
It's a 10-aught, yeah. So 6 or 7 little yellow dots just in the center of the flower, like so. I'm going to pull that up because I know you can't see it. So just a little cluster right in the center. And then I rinse out my brush. And then we're going to repeat that with that liner brush and some warm white. But just a few little tiny dots right at the mouth of each of those petals. Just a few. Don't overdo it. And keep them tight in towards the center of the flower. It doesn't have to be a lot. It just creates another layer of texture in the center of this flower. And it does something else too. It draws the eye to the flowers. Everything that, when you look at a flower, the reason all of that bright yellow, that bright orange, that bright red is towards the center is that's going to attract the insects to where it needs them to be, to pollinate. So in our case, we want to direct attention from the whole surface to our flowers. And so that's where we put those punches of white and those punches of yellow, because it draws the eye towards it. So we have flowers. So we have our flowers done. You can also take a little bit of, if you find your flowers aren't quite dark enough in the center, perhaps you can take a few dots of Diox purple or lamp black in there. But I think it's fine the way it is. I'm going to take a little of that lush green and I'm going to just darken a little bit of matcha, just a little bit. And we're going to put in our curlicues. I'm a big fan of curlicues. I like my curlicues. One of the benefits to a nice extra long detail liner is that you can do nice curlicues with a good extra long. And this just connects some of our leaves. You need those vines. And then for our stems on our the little teardrop shaped leaves here, I'm mixing a little bit of laurel with some mermaid tail. Just to make it slightly lighter value than the shading that we have there, so that it stands out just a little bit. And just stroke that in with the liner. This is a super easy way to finish off those leaves. And I just noticed something. See this leaf? Our little leaf down there is missing something. Got the highlight, but didn't shade it. So we have leaves, we have stems, we have curlicues. I'm going to dry this real quick, and then we're going to take off some of that graphite. And then we're going to put an edge, a nice little border on the edge of our teacup. I just want to make sure that that's good and dry so I don't put my fingers in it like I usually do. Oh my gosh.
What brush were you using for most of the line work?
A 10-aught extra long detail liner.
The Micron?
It's a Dynasty Micron.
10-aught Dynasty Micron.
Okay. I need to order some more pens. So I'm working with, this is a Deco Color gold paint pen. These are my favorite. This is, it's called a premium Deco Color gold paint pen. I love these for a couple of reasons. One, the price point is reasonable. And two, they're easy to get your hands on. You can find them in any craft store, art supply store. Scrapbook.com carries them. I mean, they're pretty easy to locate. And they have them on Amazon. So I'm just using this to basically paint on a gold border on the rim of my teacup with this giant Sharpie, because that's what it is. It's a metallic Sharpie. For all intents and purposes, it's a big marker. And it works like nobody's business. I use these a lot for doing this, finishing edges on things, for adding little details to things, signing large canvases. They're just fantastic. And they're reasonably priced. You're not going to pay $30 for a single pin, which that drives me bananas. So, and these ones last quite a while. It's been a good 6 months since I've ordered one of these. So, Deco Color Premium Gold Paint Pen. These ones are made by Marvi Yoshida. So they're available in the US. It is an oil base, so it takes a little bit longer to dry. You can force it. So you can just take your heat gun to it. So we only have a little bit left to do. Add some highlights onto the handle and some fun little scribbly details, and then we will be able to paint our butterfly. Not to mention, I'm going to clean up some graphite lines because those will drive me nuts if they're on there. So there is our fun little gold border. Isn't that pretty? I love how these just shimmer. It's a great, great gold paint pen. So we're going to add a highlight to the handle of our teacup. And this is really a simple highlight. We are not going over the top here. We don't need to. I'm going to use a little bit of thinned warm white, and I'm just putting a float on the edge of my teacup. And then I'm going to diffuse it a little because it needs to be softened. And then all along the bottom here to the bottom edge. And then I'm going to take that highlight down onto the neck of this teacup. And then diffuse, diffuse, diffuse. And don't forget this little spot here, because it gets a highlight as well. Ooh. There we go. Super simple. This part is not difficult to do. And then we're going to add just some simple stroked highlights onto this teacup, like so.
Patrick, you know the rule.
What did he say?
You do you, boo-boo. He goes, Tracy, could we line the top with black or warm white instead of gold?
Absolutely.
You do you.
You can do whatever you want to do. It's your piece. I'm certainly not going to be offended if that's what you're worried about. I am not that easily offended. So the final part to do to this teacup, which I love doing this, I like to take my little black gel pen and I like a scribbly little detail around the whites, like so. Nothing neat and tidy, nothing perfect, nothing straight. God forbid it should be straight. Perfection is to be avoided at all cost. I like this little detail. So I just stop when I get to something like a leaf or what have you, or a vine or another design element. I just stop there and go in between. But again, I don't worry about it being straight. Don't worry about it being perfect. Just that light sketchy line. I just think it adds a little character to this. Nothing worse than nakedity.
What?
Nakedity.
Nakedity?
Yeah, nakedity.
That's a word?
It is now. Nakedity.
Nakedity.
Actually, that was from MASH. Years ago. There was an episode with Radar, and he used that word, nakedity, and it stuck. So, instead of saying nudity or my nakedness or whatever, he used the term nakedity. It's like humidities. You know, it's not boob sweat, it's humidities. I just found that one vastly amusing. So there we go. I've got Lovely little bit of texture. Some scribbly stuff here and there. Now, again, I do this. That doesn't mean that you have to. If you're not into the whole scribbly thing, then don't do it. You do you. Again, I am not going to be offended.
You do you, boo boo. The 0.38 millimeter black lining pen you sent me is awesome. Fully waterproof. Tried it on watercolor paper. Ran it under the faucet after it was dry, and no running.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. I as long as it's dry, I haven't had an issue.
Yeah.
If I don't let it dry, then sometimes it'll smear or whatnot. But when it comes to anything that I use this on, whether it's paint or what have you, I spray everything with matte spray anyway, just to be on the safe side. Because I have had it move or smear, depending on what I'm putting over it. So, I just save myself the aggravation and the tears. And I just hit everything with Decor matte spray.
It's her new favorite now.
What's that? Oh, the pen? Yeah. I love it. So, there we go. Our teacup is done. Now we have a butterfly to do.
I grew up with MASH.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
We had the box set.
Yep. Oh, yeah. We
All
love
the VHS.
yeah, all of them.
I grew up with MASH.
Yeah. So, there is our violets. I still think that this is just such a pretty piece. I like it.
Now we gotta do a butterfly.
So this part is super fun, super easy. I like it when I get to do these fun and easy ones. It's like me painting them. When I should have been doing, 100 other things to do with this business. Instead, I was painting a butterfly.
I was too young for MASH, but I watched Bob Black Sheep.
Oh yeah, that was a good one too.
I grew up with MASH, Platoon.
Yeah.
It was a military household.
It is a military household. It's inescapable. So, I'm going to dry this. I just painted the body in with a little bit of lamp black.
I watched Apocalypse Now before I got to high school.
Yeah. Not one of my favorite movies, but it was different.
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket was
I've always
another.
been a fan of Kubrick films, so.
Yeah, I know. I am not. I completely hooped this body. I'm looking at it going, I don't know what is wrong with me today. Couldn't figure out the volume on my phone.
What do you mean too young for MASH? It's still on.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. I know, we just recently watched all 11 years worth. It was a great show. It covered so many.
I'm still surprised Alan Alda's alive.
Yeah. Come to that, so is, what's his name? I was going to say T.J. Hooker. I couldn't remember. William Shatner. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, brain, really. So I'm going to work with a 1 or a 1/2 inch angled shader, and we're going to use the same process that we used to paint flowers to paint the butterfly. So I'm going to start with a little bit of lavender, and I'm going to float right up to the body and down, and I'm going to use that mop brush to soften that float.
A bunch of us went to a ceramic paint studio, and we were all painting away when my brush slipped and got paint where I did not want it. So what pops into my mouth? Oh, it's not It's okay. Perfection is to be avoided at all
Oh,
costs. Call me Tracy.
Call it a creative opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got that first shading in. Not the greatest, but it'll do. I'm going to dry it real quick.
I actually had a client back when I was airbrushing motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
I saw his bike before he asked me to paint it.
Okay.
And I'm like, ooh, that's a wicked dent. I'm going to have to get that pulled out. And he's like, actually, no, I want you to incorporate it into the painting. And I'm like, what? Ah, the dent is a reminder of things.
Yeah.
So I want to keep the dent. So he wanted a skull on the side of the tank, so the dent was the skull's eye socket.
Oh, cool.
And he was quite happy. Him
Yeah.
and his dog go around in the sidecar all the time in Winnipeg now.
Okay. So I used that same color, lavender, to separate these two leaves. You might notice that there's no line drawing for this in the pattern because it's not necessary to be perfectly blunt. You're going to just shade straight across to separate those two leaves, and now you've got 4 wings. So then I'm going to take that Diox purple and I'm just going to put a very weak float over top of everything. So nice transparent float of Diox purple right over everything. I've got a schmegly. There we go. So nice bright purple. Look at how that purple just pops. So I'm going to dry this.
Those are wings, not leaves.
Yes, and I have, did I call them leaves?
Yes.
God.
Bunny leaves.
Bunny leaves.
Butterfly leaves.
Yep, butterfly leaves. Great.
Somebody called you out on it.
Okay. Good.
Those are
Bunny
wings, not Jessica called you out on it too.
Thank you, Jess. She knows I love her.
Schmegling's perfect word.
Oh, I've got schmeglies. Schmeglies, there was something on my palette and it's stuck in the paint. It's ew. So I'm going to do the same thing highlight-wise that I did with the flowers. I'm going to brush mix a little bit of warm white and that lilac meadow. And we're going to put a nice little highlight out at the edge of the petals. Petals. Wings. Good God.
You okay?
Probably not. There we go.
Maybe there is wine involved?
Oh, if not, there should be. Good grief.
I was looking for the leaves.
Oh. Leaves, petals, wings. Wingses.
Wingses?
Wingses. So I'm going to dry this real quick and then we're going to grab our stencil. Now, I did the first one I did with black polka dots.
You thinking white now?
Uh,
Gold.
no, not gold. I'm going to do it with white this time around. And the only reason I am is because I found the black dots a little heavy. Just a little bit. So, oh goodness. Mama needs a new stencil brush. Not really, but she's getting one anyway. Hello. There we go.
You good? I knew what she meant. I just ignored it.
Okay, I got a brand new one. Still has the new car smell. There is nothing like the smell of new brushes. Unless, of course, it's the smell of new paint.
Puppy breath.
Puppy breath?
Anybody who's had a puppy in their life,
Yeah.
puppy breath.
It's like the smell of babies.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Cheryl.
So
Get a $10 donation from
Come
Cheryl
on. Thank you. So
for our furry friends.
I'm using a little bit of warm white and my 1/2-inch stencil brush.
Thingamajiggy.
And I'm going to put white polka dots on my purple butterfly. Now, when I did it with black the last time, oh goodness, knocking everything over. I just found it looks a little heavy. And it kind of runs into what's on the cup. So, I don't know. It's just sort of a thing that sort of popped into my head. So, white butterflies. White polka dots. Actually, they look gray on here.
It's because of the violet.
Yeah. Let's have a look. If we don't like it, we can always repaint it, right?
It's a nice contrast.
It's a nice contrast. Kind of works with the flowers.
Yeah.
What do you think, guys? I think it's pretty.
Yeah. The consensus is puppy breath.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, puppy breath.
I'm still quite partial to the new brush smell.
There's nothing like puppy breath.
So, let's get some consensus on this. White polka dots or black?
We got first 3 people saying, I like it, I like it, I like it.
So this is what I mean by just messing with a design a little bit. Just because I say use black, don't
jeez.
do whatever. What?
Pretty, ties into the flowers, love it. Yes, white, 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 white,
There
white,
we
white,
go.
white, white.
Okay, so the general consensus is white. Okay, see? I'm smarter than the average bear. So I'm going to put a highlight at the edge of these wings. Just a little float of warm white, just to pump that up a little. Softens these wings nicely too. Just a little float. Comme ça. Oh, look at that. I like it. I like it. So, I'm going to dry that real quick, and then we're going to put a highlight on the body of the butterfly. And this is pretty straightforward. So it's just a little float of thinned warm white. Just down one side.
Give it a highlight.
Just a little highlight. And then with the liner, a little dot and a little stroke. That's it. Super simple. You don't need to have a really complex. And then the fun part. We're going to accentuate these shadows a little bit with a little bit of Diox purple. Because now we've got the stenciling on, we need to separate these wings again.
After all these lessons, we are used to the Tracyisms.
The Tracy's. Oh, I usually rein them in. Although I think you guys know me well enough by now. I have a lot of Tracyisms. So that little float of Diox helps separate those wings a little bit more. It deepens all of those original shadows that we put into place. Look at that. So now we have a nice shape. I'm going to dry this, and then we're going to finish this off with just a little bit of line work like we did on the teacup. And I like this part. It's fun. So out comes my Uniball. Again, I like really loose. Nothing too solid, nothing too defined, just scribbly. All the way around the outside edge of the wings.
Identipen. She can't live that one down.
I will never live that one down. Because, the worst of it is I know I can never remember the name of it.
She's just accepted it.
I've accepted it. Although I surprise myself every once in a while. So, little scribbly outline to these wings.
Should do an episode just using the Identipen.
Okay.
Just so you
And
have to
you
keep...
think that would help with me?
It could. It could.
And then again, it could, fail miserably. Which is probably the most likely. So, I've got a little piece of MDF. You can use small wooden button or whatever you happen to have handy. But something only about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch thick. It depends on how much you want this butterfly to stand up off the surface. So, here we go with the world's slowest glue.
Renee, you're a sadist.
Yes, he is.
Sadist, masochist. Same thing.
Sucker for punishment. So I'm just going to glue this to the back of my butterfly. And then I'm going to decide where I'm going to place it. Now, when I did the original, I had it way down here. It was way too close to the flower. So I moved it up closer to the handle, like so. But you can change the angle any way you want. So if you want it tipped away or straight up and down or tighter angle, sharper angle, facing the other way altogether, that's entirely up to you. You can decide where it goes. And I think I'm liking it right there. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of that little wooden tab. And I'm going to place my butterfly. And there we go. We have a violet teacup. Now, the kit comes with that little stand that's this one here. And it's 2 pieces. There's one piece that is solid and one piece has a slot in it. All you have to do is glue the 2 pieces together and be generous with the glue. And then I used a couple of buffalo clips to hold it in place until it dried. And then I put a small amount of glue inside that slot and then just clicked the teacup into place. And then you have a stand for it. I do have several more designs for this teacup because I just think it's a really cute little surface. We are going to be changing up this shape a little bit. So some will have a butterfly. Some are not going to be butterflies. They'll be something else altogether. So just keep your eyes peeled. We're going to have some fun ones. I've decided to keep them as a kit because it's just simpler to ship all those pieces together than to ship them individually. And it's actually more cost effective that way. So that is what we're going to be doing with those teacups. But this is such a fun surface and you can customize it so many different ways. So we have our violet teacup. Fun surface. Really fun.
Yay.
Yeah. And then next Saturday we're doing this one. The Vino Toscano.
Other camera.
Other camera?
That one.
You see, I didn't. He changed cameras and didn't tell me. And we have the swirly thing back.
Yeah, I did the swirly thing.
Oh, you did the swirly thing.
I don't know
Good
what
for
happened
you.
there.
I'm going to fix that. So I no doubt Renee has the wheel already loaded up. No, yeah? Yes? No?
I have it loaded. I just got to open it.
Ah, okay. So we have 3 giveaways today, and the goodies in it are a fabulous vintage note stamp. Now, that's the stamp that we're using next Saturday. I'm a big fan of this stamp. It's one of my favorites. It's generic. It's just a simple script. You can use it so many different ways and for so many different things. And so for me, it's just a great stamp, all-purpose stamp. I use it all the time. So that is one of the giveaways. We have a beautiful Dynasty Stencil Pro stencil brush. This gorgeous red-handled synthetic stencil brush. There's a nice little, I think it's a 1/2 inch or a 3/8 inch It's a nice big stencil brush. You got one of those in there. We have a fabulous M Square stencil from both Sandy Mcteer and myself. It's called Seize the Day. We have that in there. It's a custom stencil. It is not one that we stock on our line. My brain shut off again. Websites. This is yes.
Yeah.
And of course, then we have a fun little surface tag surface for you.
I think you need wine.
Probably need medication.
Or more of it.
Or more sleep or something.
Something.
So those prize packs for this weekend, the giveaways this weekend, are courtesy of myself and Sandy Mcteer, and of course, Dynasty Stencil Brush. Dynasty Brushes. I'm going back to bed.
You know, dyslexia.
I have dyslexia today. Oh, my brain's not functioning today.
Let's see if we can get the names right today.
We'll be doing well
We got
if we
193 names on there.
do. Do we? Wow, good job.
So here
Guys.
we go.
Cindy Braden, words are hard. Harder than usual today, I'm afraid. And we have so many new names that I see popping up.
Miss J.L. Brewer.
Awesome. Miss J.L. I'm so glad you won something. It's been a while. And remember, all you have to do to get in on these giveaways is to simply participate. Join the chat. Join the group chat, both on Facebook and on YouTube, and hit that big old red subscribe button on my YouTube channel, or the follow button on the Tracy Morrow Live page. And then come on over and join us on the live group.
The Book of Face.
The Book of Face, yes. The Book of Face. That's what we need. More humor.
It's also called the Necronomicon.
Okay. Hit that spin button, will you?
Spinning.
It's not moving.
It's moving.
Over here, it's not. It's just stuck there.
It's moving.
Not on the Facebook feed. It's not. It's just sitting there.
It's
There
Miss
it goes.
Watchcorn.
Linnell.
Yeah.
Right on. So J.L. Brewer and Linnell Watchcorn. That's awesome. Linnell posted a big Lazy Susan that she was working on. She did the teapot and daisies on it. It's gorgeous. She did a beautiful job. So if you're not part of the Tracy Morrow Live Facebook group, it's different from this page, go and check it out. Go and request access to that group. We have a lot of fun on there. We have we do have great giveaways on that page as well as we have freebies for those members that are on there. We have special giveaways, and we just in general have a great time. So come and join us. Lots of fun.
Sharon Chat.
Right on. Sharon Chat. Now, I have JL's shipping information, and I have Linnell's shipping information, and Sharon, Sharon, I'm not sure that we have yours, so please go to the main page on my website, click on the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner of the homepage, and send us your shipping information so that we can get your goodies out to you as soon as possible. And coming up next week for our texture class, working with the Decor Media Fluid Acrylics, the pattern is up on the website right now. We posted that late last night. So if you're looking for it, it's up there already. You don't need a whole lot of supplies. You need a nice little script stamp and some texture medium and a palette knife and some of the fluid acrylics. We will give you a list of just plain Americana colors that you can use instead of the fluid acrylics if you don't have them or if you don't have access to them. So come and join us anyway. You don't have to have the exact colors. We're going to have a lot of fun next Saturday, so join us. We have some special giveaways next Saturday for this class. So make sure you come and join us and bring a friend. We'd love to meet them, and we would love to spend a little time with you. So from both Renee and myself, thank you so much for joining us every Saturday. You guys are flippin' amazing. To the winners of the giveaway, Linnell Watchcorn, JL Brewer, and Sharon Schott, congratulations and thank you for watching, and we will see you again next Saturday. We love you, and please stay safe. Mwah.
Words are hard. Pet your dog.
Words are hard. Today they're freaking impossible.